Hey, it's Jack from Alphacharts with a state of the market video. Today is August 17th, 2024. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. Now, I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. All right, if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really do appreciate that. You can find me on X at Alphacharts365. If you really like my stuff, I do run a subscriber service where members get exclusive content, including my weekend video, which is roughly 45 minutes and goes in depth with not only the state of the market stuff, but also the internals of the market. Then I go into the watch list, which is a broader watch list, and ETFs included as well. I get really in depth with them. I also do a focus list video, which is only about 10 minutes long on the weekends for the subscribers. That is just some specific setups that I really like, including what I started, which was my pick of the week, which is a short-term 1 week hold type of idea that we just started. I do a midweek video. I do market notes twice a week, Sundays and on Thursdays. Annotated charts, just to for specific areas I would consider buying, I would consider selling, um subscriber chart requests, all kinds of stuff, and other all that's just the minimum, all kinds of other information. I do all this for about 10 bucks a month, not for about, for exactly 10 bucks a month. So it's a great deal. It's really, as much as you get in a robust, much more expensive service, but I don't charge more expensive. I only charge $10. um yeah, and again, I don't tell you what to buy or sell. They're just idea generation, educational type posts. It's up to you to make your decision with your own money. But if you think this can help you, whether you work full time, a lot of people do that and use this to supplement what their research is. Some people are have been trading for a long time and they like the second voice, to kind of compare and contrast with what they're thinking. Some people are very new to the markets and they use this to help them learn and get through and flatten that learning curve a little bit. So for 10 bucks a month, it is really the best deal out there. Consider joining. Go to Alpha Charts 365 and click on the subscribe button right there in my profile, and you're in. Okay. I'll go ahead and post this right now and then just click on the link. Appreciate that. Let's get into this video. So we had the SPY, we had this big dip, and in a very quick fashion, they ran it all the way back up, which is awesome, right? Shows a lot of strength in the market. Um, and a lot of us have been waiting for that pullback to make that higher low, and we just haven't had it yet. Now, with this little gap up here in right into this area, this is another area we may see this pullback, and I'll just move this, something like this. Do I think that this is, going to be a double bottom? I don't. I think at this point we've seen enough strength in this where I think that we may get, whether it's in this area or right in the moving averages, maybe close this gap and then go higher, something like that. But I think we're back into a buyable dip area, based on just this. You may get, maybe a shoulder, ugly looking head, and maybe like some other little shoulder, and then that's a base, right? Is it the one that we prefer? Not the one I prefer, but we don't get to choose, so we have to go with what we see. Again, it's looking pretty good overall on the week, up 4%. Solid week, right? Up 4%. Looking at the RSP, we have up 2.5%. And if we pull this across, you can kind of see, the closing at all-time highs. That's pretty impressive right there as well, right? Not quite all-time high, not on a closing basis right there, but on the weekly, it was closing at all-time highs, right? You see intra-week, it did go higher twice. Anyway, really strong look to RSP. Shows you that we have robust, robust movement in price. That's it, right? All across the board. Looking at the Qs, back above the 50-day as well. Again, I was expecting some sort of pullback after this candle. Just didn't get it. Kind of a little exhaustion gap, maybe. I mean, not a huge amount of volume there, but eventually we will get that higher low. So again, we just got eventually I'll be right on this one. right? And things will go straight up, right? We know that, but this is an area that you can kind of, you know, no one knows, but you kind of expect maybe of some sort of pullback here again, and then you have a kind of a basey look to it, something like that. Then you have an inverse head and shoulders base, and then we can move higher. So that looks really good there. Um, Looking on the weekly on the Qs, up 5.44, so way more than the SPY. Equal weight 4.19, again, very, very strong. Um, Really nice look to it. Looking here, not quite near all time. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want this, right? So maybe this is what we need to create that base right under this area, and then, you know, break out. This was like a false breakout. We really pulled back hard. And maybe this is what we need, right? Maybe this is the second half of this double bottom or something like that. Some kind of irregular double bottom, big base. Yeah, it looks really nice. Equal weighted Qs. May not mean that the mega caps are going as strong, right? But they probably participating for sure. Here's your mid caps, kind of up here in no man's land, but above all the moving averages. So it looks pretty good. Nice, buying there on the week. We had up 2.67. So the mid caps are hanging in there right near all-time highs as well. And then you have the small caps. Probably should keep that on. They're looking kind of weakest of the bunch, but with that being said, held where they had to. 200 days now above that area, which is kind of nice too. And again, it is going up the 200 day, and we are above all of its important moving averages, up 3% on the week. And again, this is one big base is trying to finish. Yeah, I think this area right there, this 235-ish area is big time. When we get back up there, again, you could kind of see just a big base. And if we move higher from out of 235, I think this can go much, much higher. So overall, looks really good on the indexes, right? I mean, recovered beautifully. Nothing goes straight up. Expect the pullback. Expect a, maybe even a sharp pullback for a day or so. That wouldn't shock me at all. Looking at the financials, financials are already back to all-time highs. And on the up 3% on the week. So you see, one of the strongest looking areas of the market in general. And again, bodes well for the market if financials are participating, let alone leading. So semiconductors still under the 50-day, and that's something that's different than what we've seen so far. That is kind of interesting. I don't think it's too worrisome yet. They did run pretty hard. They were up 9.65 on the week after, a 3% up week, now 9.65 up. They've done very, very well. It's just that the damage they took was pretty significant too, right? Down 18, 20 something percent. Now it's just trying to make up some of that damage. You see the equal weights were up 8%, right? That's pretty strong as well. Again, underneath the 50, which is declining, and underneath this really important area. But overall, I'm not too worried about these yet because at least they're participating, and that's a good thing. We prefer to see them leading, and they may eventually. So I'm not too worried. Here's your transports back above the moving averages. Again, that is good to see. We do have lower highs and lower lows, right, on this chart. But with that being said, above the moving averages. So again, starting to participate again. That's the positive. Transports equal weighted. This one doesn't look quite as good, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Just, we want to see it get above this, this 200 day, of course, and above the 50 for sure. And that may come with time. It didn't break down. It held the area where, quote unquote, it had to, this $74, $75 area. And now we'll see if it can start to recover on the equal weighted basis. Here is home construction, ITB. Again, above all its moving averages. Doesn't look quite as strong as some of the other charts, but it hasn't really broken down either, which is really nice. It resisted the breakdown, so it's just trying to repair. And look at XHB. That one also is, kind of trying to recover on this. So I think there's a lot of positives that happen. I don't think, nothing has ever gone straight up and not pulled back and made a higher low. whether it was this, rising wedge look, which it didn't happen here, and that was my expectation. That was a positive expectation breaker. Now, this is another area where we can maybe see some pullback, maybe into this 50-day moving average. This 545 or so, that would be a perfect little pullback, and roughly, 1.7, 1.7, between 1.5% and 2% pullback. And maybe it undercuts that 50-day just slightly, and then it kind of, recovers from there. I think as long as that 50-day basically holds in the, maybe we'll call it 540-ish or so, as long as 540-ish holds, I think we're in a viable rally at this point. And I think that there's no reason, now if we get underneath 540, we may be doing that kind of that double bottom type of look, but we don't have any inclination that's going to happen yet. So we have to just go with what we know. Hope this video was helpful. Don't forget, at Alphacharts 365, check it out. Click on subscribe. I appreciate that. You can, my subscribers get the internals and all the other information that we talked about up here. Anyway, hope you all are doing great. Take care. Good luck this week.